Hello everyone. Spirit and soul are two terms I have spoken about in my book and in other writings. I used to consider them to be synonymous, but I now think otherwise. But before I go into that, it is important to know that the very nature of the traditional craft has always been to encourage people to learn, to discover, to explore, and to improvise and to grow as individuals. The fact is, we are not static. We either continue to learn and to grow in our lives, or we stagnate, languish, and decline. So, whenever I come across a new idea that appears to apply, I am inclined to grasp the idea and run with it and see what it will do. So, we should never be afraid to learn and to grow. I now believe I was wrong to think that spirit and soul are the exact same thing. But in my readings and in talking with friends, including Nick, Brian, and Ryan Burton, I've come to the conclusion that the spirit and the soul are related, but are in fact innately different. I now view the spirit as the higher self. A higher self that is much deeper and aware. It is our true self, our true nature, and a being that transcends any one life. Our total essence is our spirit. I now view our soul as the temporal repository of our being that is self-aware and unique to each one of us during any one lifetime on earth. The soul contains our unique personality that we possess in this one life, with a predetermined set of strengths and weaknesses, with predetermined fate laid out before us by way of experiences and lessons that make up the resources necessary for spiritual advancement. It is the soul that is here to learn and grow. It is the soul, as if a chip from the spirit, that is reformulated to live on the earth plane. And upon our death, the soul returns to spirit, as all of our previous souls have returned and have done before. Yet, I also think that it is a mistake to think of the soul as separate from spirit. So I do think they are closely connected. But it is the soul that can be born into a human body, and as part of spirit, it can also exist on the other side. Spirits learn and advance spiritually faster if they incarnate a soul into a physical form, a human body in order to learn from experiences while living on the earth plane. We believe the soul transcends and in another form can return to another body after death, usually after a period on the other side. Thus, it is a form of reincarnation. However, in a traditional craft, karma is not a belief. Although I'm not sure if I believe in karma or not, I can't really rule it out personally. But in any event, in a traditional craft, we do not subscribe to, we subscribe, to a variation of karma that is better termed transcendence. I believe in some cases the spirit and the soul are terms that can be blurred, where one ends and another begins. It's not always clear, although I'm making it sound relatively clear. After all, what is on the other side, we don't really know. You know, we can only imagine. But in a traditional craft, we believe the spirit has options after the spirit's soul transcends death. The soul may become a land spirit. It may ascend to the other worlds. Or, at some point, it may transcend into another soul form and into another life on earth. But usually, we believe this happens within the same family or friend circle. We re-meet people that we have known before. This is why we are attracted to some people more than others, why we usually meet one of many soulmates from previous lives to fall in love with and to share our lives with. Indeed, we can meet several soulmates in one lifetime. And I think these account for our close friends. Transcendence, back to earth, involves selecting lessons to be learned and means of learning them before the rebirth of the soul into a new human body. There's a book here. I think this book, The Soul's Path, which is a book that actually Nick bought, and I noticed it and read part of it, pretty much sums up this idea very, very well. I really like this book. Okay. So, therefore, because we believe that the lessons to be learned in life and the major events in life are in fact planned before our birth, that necessarily means that we believe in fate. In other words, we plan our lives before we are born, especially all the important events in our life, but not necessarily every detail. Thus, we also believe that some aspects of life are free will. Therefore, we believe free will works in tandem as a secondary feature of fate. However, we believe fate predominates. All souls that transcend back to earth have at least one spirit guide to aid them in this life. Spirit guides have been described as compassionate spirits who have volunteered to help us in this life. However, they cannot read our minds, and in helping us, they cannot violate fate. If you wish to speak to your spirit guide, you can simply speak out loud, and the guide will hear you. If they can help, they will. However, I believe that prayer is nothing more than speaking to your spirit guide. Deeply religious people may think that they are speaking to some God, but I believe that it's their spirit guide that is getting things done. It's the spirit guide that is doing the listening. The spirit guide is often, I believe, a previous family member, soulmate, or close friend from previous life or lives that has not returned back to earth with us. They remain on the other side, and they help guide us where it is possible. Now, there are different words or terms for a spirit guide, which I won't mention here, but I want to make clear that a spirit guide should not be confused with a spirit helper, whose job it is to help us with a very particular special problem, or that of a familiar, even though a familiar may at times provide guidance. So I think I've left you with a lot of information, so that brings us to the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe and vote and comment on this video. And until next time, bye-bye.